Very good morning and welcome to GN Radio Morning Breakfast Show with myself, Jones Awuah. This morning we're here till 11 a.m. So plenty of time to talk about issues affecting us, trending stories, and my goodness, there's a lot to cover today. So make sure that you stay tuned. If you want to get involved, and I always encourage people to get involved with our discussions here. The numbers you do need to call in are 0203 735 8820 or 0203 286 0185. If you want to call the mobile number, the number is 0778 793 9958. Don't forget, you can also send in voice notes as well if you want to, air your views in that way. We are streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube, so there's no excuse, right? You can listen to this show on Tunein, Facebook, and also on YouTube, and of course online as well. If you're, if you prefer the old-fashioned way, www.gnradiouk.com. You can listen to us. All right, so you have no excuse not to listen to today's show. As I did mention, we've got a packed show for you today. Now, yesterday we spoke about Farah, Sir Farah, mind you, that is his title, the athlete, in the BBC documentary where he revealed that he was actually trafficked into this country. Now, interestingly, apparently, according to Home Office laws, if you come here under false pretense, then they can deport you back to your country of origin. And of course, which begs the question: so will Farah also be deported? And we'll be happy. Everyone will be happy to know that that is not the case when it comes to Farah. And it was actually funny because yesterday when I left here, I was listening to other radio stations, and they were also talking about the Farah story, the fact that he was trafficked as a kid. And everyone was full of praise. There were praises from every corner for Farah, which then Diane Abbott, who is in the Labour Party, actually tweeted asking if if Priti Patel, the Home Secretary, would deport Farah. And it just sparks the argument again, not even an argument, the debate. It starts a conversation. And yesterday too, I did make mention of the fact that one particular radio station was actually talking about migrants crossing the French channel, from France, crossing the English Channel into the UK. And, supposedly these guys are being trafficked. And the whole hostility towards migrants is down to trying to disrupt the business model of these traffickers. So then it just raises the question. Farah has just admitted that he was trafficked into this country. Now look what he's become. Look what he's achieved for Great Britain. Need I say more? Don't worry, I will definitely come back to it. So that is an interesting story. With this whole hostility towards migrants coming to this country, Farah has just come out to let everybody know that he was actually trafficked. And one would ask if this will persuade other people's thoughts or thinking when it comes to migrants. Anyway, so we'll give you, we'll bring you updates, stories across the world, and also, trending stories in Africa, and also look at what's happening in Ghana. Ghana now is interesting because, yes, Ghana has gone to the IMF. One of the main policies that I think the last time we spoke to the economist from Ghana, of course, when you go to the IMF, there are conditionalities that are attached to the program. And one of the main concern, and my concern, was the fact that the government's policy, the free SHS policy, the free education policy, could be impacted as a result of the government seeking an IMF bill. We see how that unfolds, but one professor is also saying that the free SHS is not sustainable and needs to be reviewed. What is your take on that? The free SHS, I think, covers even boarding school. So if you happen to be going to boarding school, the government will cover that. And this is where, I think this is the bone of contention where people are arguing if some parents are able to fund the children's education, then they ought to do so. It shouldn't be the government's burden. Anyway, so we will look at that story in more details. And still staying with Ghana, DVLA, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority in Ghana, apparently they have intercepted and fined over 1,881 vehicles in Ghana. I thought this story was interesting simply because when, everybody that has gone to Ghana, not just Ghana, a lot of the African countries, majority of the cars are not roadworthy. So for this exercise to, to happen, one can only assume that it's good. It's good. But mind you, even though my take on the fact that there's a lot of accidents that occur in Ghana in particular, as we're talking about Ghana, yes, you tend to realize that majority of these cars do not actually travel that far. So, let's say, I don't know, probably about 15, 20 minutes drive back and forth. That's what they do. I don't think this has nothing to do with accidents per se, but I just think that cars need to be checked, make sure that they're suitable for road, and also passengers' safety, right? I think a lot of the accidents that happen in Ghana is just down to, I'll put it as stupidity, to be honest with you. I have experienced it because it's just where the driver doesn't need to do an overtaking, that is when he wants to do the overtaking, especially, when they're approaching a bend on the road and approaching the bend and still trying to overtake, not knowing what's coming, oncoming traffic is doing, whether they're speeding or slowing down. So a lot of the things I believe is down to decision making of the drivers. And also a story in Mali. So Mali authorities apparently have arrested 49 Ivory Coast soldiers. Malian authorities arrested nearly 50 soldiers, Ivory Coast, who came to Mali to work for a contracting company of the UN. Now, according to the Malians, they're saying that these are not actually here to work, are not there to work for companies, but they're actually missionaries. So we'll bring you more details on that particular story. And in terms of the UK, the Conservative Party still, the leadership race is still on. Well, some people have decided to drop out of the race. We'll bring you up to date. And what's also making the newspaper headlines. We'll bring you that shortly. The time now is exactly 16 minutes past 8. We're taking a quick break. When we'll come back, we'll bring you the newspaper headlines.
When you thought you seen it all, but no. This is the height of it. London, wake up as the maestro, Mr. Music Man, the legendary Kojo Entry with Ketcher and the Davison Band, UK. Live concert in the UK. This is happening live on the 30th of July, 2022. Time, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Hosted by The Force. DJ on deck, DJ TQ. Location, Gaumont Palace, Dominion Center, the Broadway High Road, Wood Green. N226DS. Performing live, we'll be having a surprise guest. Anticipate. Come and witness history in the making. Tickets available online at www.kojoentry.eventbrite.co.uk. Remember, this is sponsored by Unity Link Money Transfer. Media partners. For more info, contact 077 288 76027 or 075 25 52 48 643. Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band UK live in concert. UK is powered by Davison Band and Desire Enterprise UK. So my guy, you have to day there, eh? It's a legendary thing, my lad, me tell ya. Yeah. It's the anthem.
Yo, Ghana for you what English approach my muha. Ya sweady. Yenya emrenimfo a wen akwadare wo emrenimu a poto kasemu ye kase a lawyer for entimi nuanom momyemfa ye immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo mo Fortwell solicitors emrenimu akuku drofo se watna ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa kan won krata na se wedi edro nso a eyo mo kokokra eba ne nipa setenemu eni adwuma mu nsem bia omudim akotene pa omo wo mre di mani pa bia na de enika wo mu mpone se no consultation fee.
Fortwell solicitors always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. Fortwell solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. Fortwell solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday Beyonce Young Milton Keynes.
Fortwell solicitors is regulated by SRA.
Fortwell Solicitors.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, Awuah, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiya Basa, is not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with Awuah.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio. Welcome back. The time now is exactly 8:21. It is Wednesday, the 13th of July, 2022. Gosh, soon we'll be in August, September, October, November, then December, and then it's Christmas. And then we're doing it all over again. Anyway, let's begin with the newspaper headlines here in England, and we start with The Guardian. The Guardian, I won't be surprised, of course, was been dominating the newspaper agenda for the past few days. Is this leadership contest, who to replace Boris Johnson. A number of Wednesday's papers lead with the news that 8 Tory leadership hopefuls were able to secure 20 nominations needed for their fellow MPs to make it into the first round ballot. The Guardian says former Chancellor Rishi Sunak remains the favourite with more than 40 backers. The 8 Tories today votes become PM as Sunak leads. So Rishi Sunak, Penny Mordaunt, Liz Truss, Tom Tugendhat, Kemi Badenoch, Nadim Zahawi, Jeremy Hunt, and Swali Braverman all survive call to reach next round of leadership contest. And the Daily Telegraph has a picture of Rishi Sunak there. The way Rishi Sunak is positioned, he just looks, well, no wonder he is, the front runner to become the next prime minister. There were reports that indicated that he actually started his campaign back in December. Speaking to the Daily Telegraph in his first campaign interview, Rishi Sunak vows to run the economy in the same way as Margaret Thatcher if he becomes prime minister. He tells the paper he will cut taxes and will do it responsibly, adding, you have to earn what you spend. I mean, look, I don't know how he's going to achieve this, because this is the same guy who is, increased tax over the past, I think, 40 years or so. So I don't know how all of a sudden he's just going to turn around and reduce or cut taxes. I don't know. Politicians will say whatever it is they need to say. Say the right things that, we want to hear to be elected into office. The FT, the Financial Times, again, has a picture of Rishi Sunak saying, with the tag, ready for Rishi. But allies of outgoing Prime Minister Boris Johnson have accused Mr. Sunak of treachery and are seeking to mobilize inner stop Rishi, push the Financial Times reports. The paper also quotes Cultural Secretary Nadine Dorries accusing Sunak campaign of lending votes to rival Jeremy Hunt to help a candidate they know they can definitely beat to reach the final 2. Of course, it's tactical, isn't it? This is what happens, and I think as you go to the ranks, you play it tactical. You support one particular group to make sure you prop them up, and in the end, they step aside and they push their backers towards you, and then you win. This is politics, and it's getting a bit dirty, let's say. The Daily Express with a picture of presenters from the BBC asking, should BBC stars really be earning so much? Boris loyalist backing Truss to stop Rishi. That's the front paper. Daily Express reports that Boris loyalists are now uniting behind Foreign Secretary Liz Truss. And yesterday, when I was speaking to Priscilla and also Abu Shah, and I did make mention of the fact that Brexit is fundamental in this contest, this leadership contest, because all Boris Johnson stood for was about Brexit, getting Brexit through, get Brexit done, and his cabinet ministers were all Brexiteers. And mind you, with Liz Truss, 2016, I think she was a Remainer, actually. And I think finally she came around to being a Brexiteer. And even though Boris is leaving, I think the Boris factor is still looming around the Conservatives. And they want somebody who will carry on that Boris torch. And I think Liz Truss is the favorite. Jacob Rees-Mogg has also backed Liz Truss to become the next PM. So we'll see what happens. In the coming days, we get to know more about their policies and what it is that they can actually do. And they will face some tough questions. I believe that the The final 8 will appear in the TV debate, so it'll be interesting to see that. The Times. The rivalry between Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss is also the focus for the lead story in the Times. The paper says that leadership contest descended into vitriol on Tuesday, with Cabinet Minister Jacob Rees-Mogg, who is backing Ms. Truss, accusing Mr. Sunak of damaging the economy and plotting to oust Johnson more than 6 months ago. And this is what I was saying. There were reports indicating that Rishi Sunak was actually planning vying for that leadership role back in December. So Jacob Rees-Mogg, he's very influential in the Conservative Party, and he said it. He said, yes, Rishi Sunak is he's easy to approach. However, he dealt with the economy badly. His management of the economy was terrible. And therefore, he supports Liz Truss. And he then goes on to talk about Brexit, that Liz Truss always supported him, with the Brexit opportunities. And Liz Truss also made it known to Rishi Sunak about, the high taxes as well. So there you go. There's going to be a lot that we'll be hearing, a lot coming out of the woodworks for sure. The Daily Mail, there's always an interesting story to newspaper to read. Rishi blasted on socialist taxes. Apparently, Jacob Rees-Mogg described Rishi Sunak as a socialist. And there's a picture of Priti Patel laughing. I don't know exactly what she's laughing at. Has Priti just been told how many backers PM assassin Javid got? Okay, all right. So, and this is what's interesting, because they all show a united front, but behind closed doors they probably just ripping the hell out of each other, politicians. Anyway, let's look at the Metro. And Britain is on red alert ahead of what could be record-breaking temperatures later this week. The paper says that health service, transport, and industry are already struggling to cope, while trains face speed limits to prevent tracks from buckling in the heat. So I've been saying this, to our listeners, make sure you do look after yourself. It's hot out there. It's very humid. Make sure you always have yourself a bottle of water. If you have anything to find yourself, make sure you carry that as well. And The Sun, Boris gets a new job. Not Boris Johnson. We're talking about Boris Becker, the former tennis player. So, according to the paper, the former tennis star Boris Becker, jailed in April for hiding £2.5 million in assets to avoid paying debts, is teaching sports science to fellow inmates at Huntercombe Prison in Oxfordshire. Okay, let's see what the Mirror is leading with. Our recycling dumped abroad. And there was a recycling story yesterday that I did touch on briefly. So essentially this whole thing about recycling, right? And, practicing to be a good citizen, because, we're all part of the ecosystem, right? So spending our time to separate, the plastics and, glass and whatnot. It turns out it gets taken to Turkey and then just get burned. Yeah, it just get burned. Tons of plastic waste sent for processing are flight tipped and burned in Turkey. So what happened to the so-called, recycling and reusable? I don't know. Yeah, let's carry on. The Daily Star. The Daily Star leads with the salaries of the BBC's top earners, which have been disclosed in the corporation annual report. The paper says Match of the Day presenter Garrett Lineker earns 1.35 million doing a job our readers could do standing on their heads. And I mean, look, they've been after him for a long time, Gary Lineker. I think he's good at his job. whether he deserves the amount of money he's receiving, that's not my place to call, because if I was in the same position, I would love the amount of money he's receiving. All right, so let's just put that out there. Just leave him alone. Let's just leave him alone. Funny that they actually concentrating on this, right? And this has been one of conservatives' main issue to stop taxpayers, from funding the BBC, right? However, Boris Johnson, in his last ditch to stay in power, and I think he appointed one particular minister, and the next day, after being in post for about 24 hours, or let's say 36 hours, decided to resign, and she was going home with £17,000. Literally being in a position for less than 48 hours. I don't know. You do the maths. I don't know how they're able to do this and still carry on. I don't know. All right, now sticking to the conservative leadership race, let's take a quick listen when the main, the people that made it to the next round were announced. And of course, they will keep going, and then they'll keep trimming it, whittling it down till we get two people who will then go around the country, pitching their ideas to conservative voters. And I think what is crucial in this particular debate or this campaign to become the next prime minister is not so much, yes, the MPs will select two people, okay? But then, thereon, it's up to these two candidates. And I think it will be down to who's able to reach the grassroots, because essentially they're the ones that will vote, right? And the argument has been, yes, Rishi Sunak might be favorite for the MPs, but in terms of, the grassroots, he's a bit distant from the grassroots. So we'll see. Interesting times ahead. Interesting times ahead indeed. We'll be here to bring you all the necessary stories and, of course, breaking news. So let's listen to the announcement of the conservative contenders.
We have 8 candidates duly nominated in alphabetical order. Kemi Badenoch, proposed by Lee Rowley, seconded by Julia Lopez. Suella Braverman, proposed by David Jones, seconded by Miriam Cates. Jeremy Hunt, proposed by Esther McVeigh and seconded by Anthony Mangnall. Penny Mordaunt, proposed by Dame Andrea Leadsom, and seconded by Craig Tracy. Rishi Sunak, proposed by Dominic Raab, seconded by Mel Stride. Liz Truss, proposed by Simon Clarke, seconded by Therese Coffey. Tom Tugendhat, proposed by Anne-Marie Trevelyan, seconded by James Daly. And Nadeem Zahawi, proposed by Brandon Lewis, seconded by Amanda Milling. Those 8 will go to the first round ballot tomorrow between 1:30 and 3:30.
Okay, so those were the 8 who made it to the first round. They'll go to the ballot today. So let's say by 4 or 5 o'clock, maybe 3:30, who knows? We'll see the ones that have made it through. And I think the time for the next prime minister to take charge from Boris Johnson, I think the time is on the 5th of September, actually. The 5th of September. So they've got, from now, the final 2 will have more or less all of August to actually put their bid forward, and then we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on to other stories. All right, I've seen a few text messages coming in. I will read your text messages. Keep them coming in. The number you need is 0778-793-9958. That is the number that you need. Let's look at this story. We did talk about this yesterday. This is to do with Mo Farah. So yesterday we realized that Mo Farah revealed that his name, Mo Farah, was a name that he adopted whilst he was being trafficked to the UK. His real name is Hussein Abdi Kahin. And when this story broke yesterday, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is the likes of Priti Patel, right? The Home Secretary, and her hostile policy of literally sending migrants to another country. When I say another country, first it was Rwanda, right? And now we've also realized that the Home Office has also struck a deal with Nigeria to send foreign criminals to Nigeria. Now, what does that? Who is a foreign criminal? You know, how do you even define what a foreign criminal is? Is it somebody who is here illegally and you know, has been involved in a criminal act, and therefore, rather than being sent to British jails, will be transferred to Nigeria? Or foreign immigrants, because they are breaking the laws, right? They come into this country illegally, and as such, they will be dubbed as criminals. Let's not forget. The wording is very, very important. So, under normal circumstances, Sir Mo Farah would have found his way to Rwanda. Sir Mo Farah could probably have found his way to Nigeria, because he came to the UK through the legal route. All right. So the Olympic star disclosed yesterday that his real name is Hussein Abdi Khan, not Khan, Kahin rather. But he got British citizens under the name Mohammed Farah. Mohammed Farah was the name given to him by the people who brought him into the UK illegally. The Home Office told the BBC News it will not investigate Sir Mo. And according to Mo Farah, and I quote him, he says, it makes me relieved. He said in BBC program. And he added that this is my country, saying that Britain is his country. If it wasn't for my PE teacher, Alan, and the people who supported me throughout my childhood, then maybe I wouldn't even have the courage to do this. There's a lot of people that I owe my life to, particularly my wife, who has been very supportive throughout my career, who gave me the strength to come and talk about this, telling me it's okay to do this. And I mean, look, he's got a life to, you know, family here, isn't it? Is it family life or rights to a family life here? We do this, you know, this legal hour on Tuesday, so stay tuned. Anyway, so I just wonder if Mo Farah happened to be, you know, traveling or being trafficked to this country right about now, looking at the policies set by Priti Patel, he would be not that he would be sent back to Somalia, he would be sent to Rwanda or possibly Nigeria. Let's listen to Mo Farah.
The BBC has spoken to the Home Office today, and they told us, and I quote, "No action whatsoever will be taken against Sir Mo, and to suggest otherwise is wrong." How does that make you feel?
It makes me relieved. You know, for me, this is my country. If it wasn't for Alan and the people who supported me throughout my childhood, then maybe I wouldn't even have the courage and doing this. So, you know, there's a lot of people I owe my life to, particularly my wife, who's been very supportive throughout my career, and who gave me the strength to come and talk about it and telling me it's okay to do this.
The BBC has spoken to the Home Office today.
So you can tell that this is something that has really bothered Mo Farah for a long time. I mean, look, it would be crazy for the Home Office to suggest otherwise, to even think that they will deport him or, you know, come back with something else. But let's listen to what Londoners made of Mo Farah's revelation.
Olympic hero Mo Farah has won praise across Britain after he revealed that he was illegally trafficked as a child to the country and forced to work in domestic servitude. The 39-year-old distance runner's real name is Hussein Abdi Kahin. Rather than moving to the UK as a refugee from Somalia with his parents, as previously claimed, Farah said he came to Britain aged 8 or 9 with a woman he had never met.
I think he's sharing his experience, and there are a lot of kids out there who are talented, who are looking up to him as well and say, hey, if I have this kind of opportunity, I will excel in life, in every aspect of life that I find myself. He or she just wants the opportunity to have a better life. And what he's doing is courageous, and I commend him for that.
I mean, there are people who still have a huge issue over here in respect of immigration, legal or otherwise. So yeah, it's bound to get some negative news. I mean, one question might be, why has it come out now? Is it money-based? Is there some kind of book? I don't know. There's some cynics out there. He's obviously a hater.
Popularly known as Sir Mo after he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 2017, Farah competed the 5,000 metres and 10,000 metres double at both the London 2012 and Rio 26 Olympics. Mo said it was his children who encouraged him to tell the truth about his past.
Okay, so that was what some Londoners made of the revelation that Sir Mo Farah is actually, as he revealed in the BBC documentary, that he is not who we think he is. And that has been very difficult for him to finally come out and, reveal that he was trafficked. And his real name is actually Hussein Abdi Kahin, as opposed to Mo Farah. And it's just, for me, this just tips everything on his head. Simply because, migrants have been vilified to the point where, the moment you hear immigrants, migrants, refugee, your first initial thought is, no, they don't need to be in this country. These are foreigners. They need to go. The country is full. You get out of our country. And this is designed, listen, of course there are people, there are racist people out there. That's number one. So let's get that clear. Let's get that out of the way. However, this is orchestrated by the state. Nothing, not necessarily about the people, but the state. And the reason why I say that is this. One, if you look at, and we talk about borders here, and of course the question of the issue of sovereignty then comes in, but let's just park that for 1 minute here. Let's say you travel to Ghana, you travel to Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Morocco, wherever it is, and you happen to be, a Moroccan national or Ghanaian national or other national, as opposed to a British national. When you get to the border, when you get to the checkpoint at the airport, how do you feel? Because there are distinctions, isn't there? So even in Ghana, Kotoka, and I mean, I look at both sides. So from the UK, let's look at this, for instance. Even though you have the right to abode in this country, you're still made to feel as though you are you don't belong here simply because the questions that are being asked. The most ridiculous question, once you've gone from Ghana and you're coming back, using your Ghanaian passport, is, when did you attain your indefinite leave to remain or your settlement? I mean, it's nonsense, right? It is nonsense. That you're working here, you're a working citizen, you pay your taxes, you're a law-abiding citizen, you happen to go on holidays and come back, you've got your home here, maybe you even have a mortgage you're paying, and then you're being asked these ridiculous questions. And for me, it feels really uncomfortable because I feel like an outsider. I feel like I'm being interrogated. I feel like, I need to say the right things, or I need to make sure that I don't do anything suspicious, which is nonsense. It is absolute nonsense because there's nothing to hide. This is my place of residence now. But it is designed to make you feel like that. And then on the other hand, when you go to Ghana, you realize you see Ghanaian nationals and other nationals, right? And I'm sure it's the same thing. So this is what I'm saying. This is something that's been designed by the state to create us and them. And what that does is it makes you look at other people differently because you're thinking that they different to me. But we all work and pay in the same system. And when they keep talking about border control, I mean, the reason why countries have borders and sophisticated technology to find out who's coming in, who's going, these are not against radicals or terrorists. This is actually against refugees, people fleeing war-torn countries. So the whole point of having a border, right, is to protect yourself, protect your country. This is your line. This is your sovereignty. You don't have any power crossing. As soon as you cross that border, it's not your jurisdiction no more, right? So the whole essence is to make sure that nobody can come in that you don't want them to come in, okay? And usually you don't want to be invaded, so you protect your borders. But this time, these are refugees that are coming in. And this is why we need to change our approach, and we need to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, because these people that you claim that, the country's full, let's get them out of here. Mo Farah is a classic example. And I'm sure there are many, many, many stories. Young people that have come here as immigrants, or their parents, first generation of immigrants who have come here and succeeded. Rishi Sunak, the person that's vying to become the prime minister of this country, is a migrant. Well, his parents were migrants. And now look at Rishi Sunak. And especially when you look at sports as well. Football in particular, and even athletics. So when you realize how these people are being treated, and if you're somebody that sit there and you agree that this is how they ought to be treated, then you're part of the problem. I'm sorry. You're part of the problem. And it's funny how even the people that against immigrants, they're all cheering for Mo Farah. It's crazy. I don't get it, man. Sometimes I just get confused, all right? I get confused. Let me take a few messages now that have come through. Okay, on the subject of the Conservative leadership, this is from James. James is saying, Jones, I think anyone that served under Boris Johnson should not be given the opportunity to even contest. It should go to somebody who is not attached to Boris Johnson. Okay. Abina is saying, good morning, Jones, and glad to hear that you're back on GN Radio. Hi, Abina. I think Boris Johnson has done all he could. It's time for him to go. And yesterday, Labour tried to put in a motion of no confidence, but Number 10 refused it. I think that's nonsense. If Conservatives don't have any faith in Boris Johnson, then what the hell is he still doing? He should go. Boris can't be trusted, and he has to go. In regards of who should replace Boris, I don't trust Rishi Sunak. Just as you said, how can the same person who put up taxes be the same person now saying he's going to cut taxes? I don't trust him one bit. Liz Truss, I'm not sure. Penny Mordaunt, I would like to give a chance. Okay. Keep your thoughts and comments coming in. This is from Josiah. Josiah is saying that now they all love Mo Farah, but they hate other foreigners. This is why we have to take each an individual's case seriously. Just because somebody's coming here doesn't necessarily mean that they just here just for economic reasons. People need to change their mind and attitude. Okay, Josiah. This is from Kwame. Kwame is saying, I'm a big fan of Mo Farah, and well done to him for coming up and speaking about this. I think the timing was perfect, seeing as there's been a lot about immigrants and immigrants being deported to Rwanda and the likes. So it's very, very important for him to speak up. And hopefully this will change some people's mind as to how they treat immigrants. Okay. Vanessa is saying, Jones, I'm a massive fan of Mo Farah and well done to him. By the way, is he going to keep Mo Farah or would he now like to be referred to as his new name? Now that's a good question. And his new name is Hussein Abdi Kahin. Hussein Abdi Kahin. That's his name. I don't know whether he wants to be referred to as Hussein Abdi Kahin or still want to be called Mo Farah. It's crazy. All right, on the subject of Mo Farah, okay, let's listen because the BBC were able to get some bites from his mum, who is still in Somalia. So let's listen to what his mum had to say.
My mum's name is Aisha. I'll never forget my mum on that tape.
laba is dhashay ma kala hadho xabaal mooyaane kolba halkay joogaan unba iska war qaadaane waan ogaaday inuu ku nool yahay Ingiriiska.
Inside the tape, it had a number on it, like say, or call on the back of it. This is the number.
Okay, so the mum was just saying that a mother and child should never be separated apart from death. And she was happy when she found out that he was somewhere in the UK. And, you know, a lot of the times, people overlook the fact that this journey that, you know, a lot of people tend to embark on is serious and as opposed to focusing on, you know, the supposed smugglers to actually, you know, welcome people. Well, I guess, you know, somebody listening will say it's easy for you to say because you're a migrant. It's not easy for me to say because I'm a migrant. It's easy for me to say because they're fellow human beings and they ought to be treated as such. Anyway, go to pay bills. We're going to take the break and we'll be back right after this.
When you thought you seen it all, but no, this is the height of it. London, wake up as the maestro, Mr. Music Man, the legendary Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band, UK. Live concert in the UK. This is happening live on the 30th of July, 2022. Time 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Hosted by The Force. DJ on deck, DJ TQ. Location, Gaumont Palace, Dominion Center, the Broadway High Road, Wood Green, N226DS. Performing live, we'll be having a surprise guest. Anticipate. Come and witness history in the making. Tickets available online at www.kojoentry.eventbrite.co.uk. Remember, this is sponsored by Unity Link Money Transfer. Media partners. For more info, contact 077-288-76027 or 075-2552-48643. Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band UK. Live in concert. UK is powered by Davison Band and Desire Enterprise UK. So my guy, you have to day there, eh? It's a legendary thing, my lad, me tell ya. Yeah. It's the anthem.
Yo, Ghana for you what English approach my moha. Ya sweady. Yenya emranimfo a wen akwadare wo emranimo a poto kasemu ye kase a lawyer for entimi nuanom momyemfa ye immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo mo fortwell solicitors emranimo akuku drofo se watna ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa ka won krata na se wedi edro nso a eyo mo kokokra eba ne nipa setena mu ani adwuma mu nsem bia omudim akotene pa omo wo mre di mani pa bia na de enika wo mu mpone se no consultation fee.
Fortwell Solicitors always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. Fortwell Solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. Fortwell Solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
Opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday Beyonce Young Milton Keynes.
Fortwell Solicitors is regulated by SRA.
Fortwell Solicitors.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing, ninga omoyebi. So pesa will transform your life from a youth graduate and a school leaver. Nasa pesa wo ye entrepreneur. Mon contacti Base. Entrepreneur no che say obia ebia wa wo business. Ebia wo ye che. But pesa wo ye no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey. Anaya papa Kwame Despite. Base betmama sa diano abim. One your experts ewo coaching and a mentoring. And as person will start wa business base for better how ubesia expand your business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more free consultation for a Base ewo
073 99 867 417. I repeat 073 99 867 417.
And also one email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mobetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base and I say become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality.
Don't sleep, wake up.
Abinel Solicitors, your #1 family-friendly law firm, has done it again. Hooray! On the 30th of July 2022, Abinel Solicitors invite you to the Community Day. Theme, bringing the law to your doorstep. This is a special initiative to give back to the community. So come join us for all your free legal solutions. There will be free legal advice, food and drinks. And we've put together a solid team of solicitors and accountants. So you also have free accounting and tax advice. Wow! Abinel Solicitors Community Day, 30th of July 2022. Entibra, Nebesia a lawyer for any accountants ekukudam na fa wo how bia e fa mrasem ho e free immigration ayen kratasem e fa adwuma family law ana pese okofo obi e free Ghana eba ni na fabra na e free service. Abinel Solicitors Community Day, venue 41 Copperfield Mews, London, N18 1PF, time 12 midday to 4 p.m. Coming by train, Angel Corner Silver Street Station, buses 34 102 149 144. For more information, please call 02037 593 309 or 07824 705 353. Abinel Solicitors Community Day, 30th of July 2022. A free service, so bring all your friends and family.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, Awuah, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiya Basa, is not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials. but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with Jones Awuah.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio. Welcome back to the program. Oh. If you're listening to us on Facebook, welcome back on radio. We're taking a break on radio, and I think we're back now. Yes, we're back. We're back. So once again, welcome back to the program. It's the time now is exactly 2 minutes past 9. It is Wednesday, 13th of July, 2022. It's very important that we mention the time, especially in the mornings, okay? Because we need to keep track of time. Now, let's, soon as we're moving across to look at other stories in Africa, a bit of sports news, in particular football. So the 2023 Women's World Cup sports at stake in quarterfinals. Now, Africa's 4 participants at the 2023 World Cup will be decided on Wednesday and Thursday at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The tournament in Morocco is doubling up as qualification for next year's finals in Australia and New Zealand, with the 4 winning quarterfinalists all booking tickets to the 32-team World Cup. The stakes means extra pressure on 8 participants: Botswana, Cameroon, Morocco, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa, Tunisia, and Zambia. However, Morocco coach Ronald Pedros also has one eye on the bigger picture and becoming continental champions. All right, now when it comes to football, there's a lot of transfer going on right now. But we'll bring you up to date very, very soon on that particular one. But I just want us to look at a few stories because time is fast spent. And again, I don't know whether I should give my nickname. I should give myself a nickname and call myself the Prophet Jones, Honorable Prophet Jones. All right, because it's no brainer, I should say. So I shouldn't take any credit for this. Because obviously, due to the economic hardship, we saw what happened in Sri Lanka. And we've seen demonstrations in Ghana as well. We've seen it in Sierra Leone and other parts of the country. Now is Uganda. The Uganda police on Monday, which is yesterday, a couple of days ago, arrested at least a dozen protesters against the rising cost of living in Jinja in the southern eastern Uganda. 8 of the leaders were arrested and will be charged with inciting violence on Tuesday, which was yesterday. Police spokesman James Mumbaya said. Witnesses said the protesters burned tires and blocked a busy road in Jinja, about 80 kilometers east of Kampala, and forced motorists to join them in demanding that the government subsidize basic food items. The officers had to use minimum force, including tear gas, to disperse the protests. According to the eyewitness, he said, "We, of course, support this kind of protest. The government must act. People are going to bed at night hungry." The hard hit by COVID-19 pandemic, Uganda's economy of 45 million people is now suffering the consequences of war in Ukraine, which has pushed up energy and food prices worldwide. According to the latest official statistics, the inflation rate for food products reached 13.1% year on year in May. The price of petrol has doubled since February and slightly more in some remote areas in the country. So far, President Museveni, who has been in power since 1986, has preferred to call on his fellow citizens to live literally to cut the coat according to sizes rather than lowering taxes and increasing state aid for most vulnerable, as many voices have called for. In June, an opposition politician and former presidential candidate Kizza Besigye was jailed and charged with inciting violence for the second time in a month, according to his lawyer, after leading several protests against the rising cost of living. I mean, look, this is where it becomes a problem, because if we claim to live in a democracy, then people have the right to demonstrate. Of course, if they decide to destroy properties and whatnot, then the police must come in and try to enforce law and order. But if people are protesting and the state deploys the police or the army, the military, to go and more or less, use force to disperse the people, then there's a problem. And, what the president is saying there by the reports will only anger a lot of people. And I say this because this is the time for leaders to be more compassionate. Because in as much as people are suffering, they're not suffering. The leaders are not suffering. Let's not kid ourselves, okay? The leaders are not suffering. But, in some parts where we're from, everything has to be heavy-handed, Now, the question we're asking here in the next story is, women in Tunisia. Has a female prime minister changed Tunisia? Tunisia has seen a marked shift in attitude towards women political leaders since Najala Bouaden became the first female prime minister in the Arab world. However, it doesn't mean that life has dramatically improved for Tunisia's women. Bouchra Belhaj Hamida has spent her whole life fighting for both gender equality and democracy in Tunisia, one of which cannot be achieved without the other, she says. Now, after the revolution in 2011, which saw her take part in the mass demonstrations that led to autocratic President Ben Ali being ousted, Tunisia passed a gender parity law. It requires political parties to have an equal number of men and women on their list of candidates to serve in parliaments after elections. Now, look at this, yeah? And I think, in as much as, on a political, at the end of the day, politics is a reflection of the community, okay? And it's important, I believe, to have, women also in high positions. I think it was the World Bank that did the research that if women had the same accessibility that men have, GDPs will be much higher than it is now in respective countries across Africa. Okay, globally, I should even say. And one day we were having a debate, talking about gender inequalities, especially as it pertains to Africa, right, and the black community. And it's not. It's not hidden secret that, women are less likely to attain high positions within a lot of industries, a lot of sectors. And we're just trying to look at how all of this came about. And, on one hand, religion and culture, became very dominant. As people would say, in our culture or our religion or our faith. And my thought has always been, look, when it comes to gender, when it comes to a lot of things that, favor men, I believe that these things have been socially constructed. And as such, it doesn't mean that they should remain as they are. And a lot of the times, women excel more than, even girls excel more than boys. Girls develop quicker than boys. So how do you then marry the two? The fact that, it has been proven statistically. And, if you see it in even kids. But then we can then say that, no, a woman's role is just to sit at home or, in the kitchen and looking after children. And I mean, look, if women are given equal opportunity as men, then we can see. There's been this argument that, and I think it was, what's his name? Jordan Peterson, that actually said this, because with him, this whole gender debate has been going on for ages, and he's actually finally come out to say that it's nonsense to actually say that we live in a patriarchal system. We don't live in a in the patriarchy system as such, because by design, women will rather go to, let's say, the hospitality sector as opposed to men. Men will go in the in the building sector. You see men building infrastructure, building road construction sector, I should say, building roads. And if you look at the Scandinavian countries, these are more egalitarian countries, whereas they presented, there's no discrimination between men or women. They all have they're all on an equal playing field. But you tend to realize that women want to go towards a more of the hospitality sector, because by nature, women are more nurturing, they're more caring, so they will decide to do that. Anything that is more masculine or, that's designed to be running and bashing and lifting, women don't like to go in that area, and a lot of men tend to do so. And it's in that sectors that pay more than other sectors that women tend to go for. I hope that makes sense. So essentially what he's trying to say is this: it doesn't matter whether we give men and women the same playing field, the same opportunities, right? This was to do with the pay gap and whatnot, disparity. It doesn't matter. Women eventually will go more, into nursing, as a doctor, in the hospitality sector. So it doesn't really matter. But nevertheless, they still need to be given the same opportunity. So it looks as if, there's a shift and a change in attitude when it comes to Morocco. So this democracy thing is not just about elections. Okay? And a lot of the time when you talk about democracy, the first thing that comes to mind is just about elections. Democracy is bigger than elections. Now, of course, election is a fundamental part of democracy. Now, let's look at this particular story in Mali. Malian authorities arrested nearly 50 soldiers from Ivory Coast who came to Mali to work for a contracting company of the United Nations mission in Mali. The government made the announcement calling the Ivorian soldiers mercenaries in a move that could raise tensions between the two West African countries. Let's listen to the report.
At least 50 soldiers from Ivory Coast were arrested Monday by Malian authorities. Reliable sources indicate that the soldiers had come to Mali to work for a contracting company of the United Nations mission in Mali. Members of the Malian Defense and Security Forces immediately contacted the Ivorian counterparts, who said they were unaware of the presence of the Ivorian soldiers arrested in Mali. The transition government considers them to be mercenaries, as defined by the OAU Convention on the Elimination of Mercenarism in Africa. The intent of those arrested was clearly to break the dynamic of rebuilding and securing Mali. The government made the announcement Monday, calling the Ivorian soldiers mercenaries in a move that could raise tensions between the two West African countries. The government of the transition has decided to, 1, to put an end with immediate effect to the activities of protection of the air company Sahelian Aviation Services by foreign forces, and to demand the immediate departure from the territory of the Republic of Mali. 2, to invite the air company Sahelian Aviation Services to entrust its security to Malian Defense Security Forces. Meanwhile, the UN mission spokesman Olivier Salgado said these Ivorian soldiers were not part of the MINUSMA contingents but have been deployed for several years in Mali as part of logistical support on behalf of one of their contingents.
Okay, so that is the report there. We'll keep a close eye on that particular story, and we'll bring you an update. Of course, it is for security reasons, and every country has the right to be skeptical about the United Nations. Okay, let's not kid ourselves here, and we're not trying to bash the United Nations, but in the past, there has been. They have been found wanting. As one case in particular that comes to mind is the Rwandan genocide. Okay, so that is what is happening in Mali. All right, now let's look at what's happening in Ghana. And let's begin with the strike. Now, the Public Sector Workers Union (PSWU). They've threatened to embark on an indefinite strike beginning 19th July 2022. Right? So, 6 days from now? Now, according to the union, the government has failed to approve the cost of living allowance requested by the union in March, despite follow-up in June. A statement issued by the group and signed by the General Secretary, Bernard Ejay, said the decision to embark on strike has become necessary because of the high cost of living and its subsequent impact on workers. And I quote him, okay? He says, it could also be recalled that patriotic citizens and social partners in the development of Mother Ghana, organized labor groups, including the PSWU, which is Public Sector Workers Union, took the hard decision to the charging of members to accept a 4% and 7% salary increment, respectively, for 2021 and 2022. He added that, however, considering unfolding events such as relatively high salary increase for Article 77 and related office holders and government expenditure patterns, we are worried that the sacrifices made by our organized labor during the last negotiations have been taken for granted. Now, the over 27,000 workers with the over 65 public sector institutions that make up the PSWU feel the economic crunch in their pockets, with each passing day resulting to uncertainties of meeting basic needs. They go on to say, obviously, a possible return to the IMF further complicates the economic uncertainties faced by public sector workers and flashes back memories of harsh labor policies that disadvantage the ordinary worker. It also, in addition to what they were saying, they said, consequently, at an emergency meeting of the management committee and representatives from the over 65 institutions that make up the PSWU, our members were left with no choice than to embark on a strike effective from Tuesday, 19th July 2022, until concerns are addressed. So there you have it. Yesterday, I was listening to one particular radio station, and I happened to give them a call because there was a gentleman that came on radio, and of course, you can tell the gentleman, he supports the party in government, and rather than looking at this whole thing with an open mind and a broader view, he went down the angle of just a militant. And what he said was, if these people are going on strike, okay, what the government should do is to just say, okay, if you're going on strike, we're not going to pay you. Do not pay them. And that they ought to be happy that, the government is the government that has provided them the jobs, is the government that paid their salary. So what if the government is going through hardship at this moment? What you ought to do is just keep working rather than going on strike to disrupt the government's activities. And that actually, got my back up to the point where I had to pick up the phone and call the radio station. Of course, I had to, comport myself and be civil, and just remind them the reason why unions are set up. Okay, the unions are not there to push against government, but the unions are set up to protect workers. So, according to the union, according to the PSWU, last year they did take a pay cut, and they've been trying to meet up with the government since March, and right now June, and of course now the government have decided to go for an IMF bailout. This will have a significant impact on them, so they're going for a strike, and the only way for government to meet their demands is to go on strike. So anyone who has who thinks otherwise, then call in. I want to hear from you. Call in. If you think that the decision by the union is the right one at this precise moment, call in. I want to hear from you. If you think otherwise, if you think, hold on a minute, this is not the right time to do so, because already there's, people are feeling the economic pinch right now. And if governments, if they decide to embark on this indefinite strike, then this will have a massive impact on the economy. I want to hear from you. You can call 0778 793 9958, or you can text the same number 0778 793 9958. Alternatively, you can call on 0203 735 8820, 0203 735 8820, or 0203 286 0185. Make sure you call, okay? And I will, because I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you think. All right, let's hear your take on issues that we're discussing here. All right, let's hear your take. I've seen text messages coming in. I will read your text messages. Whilst we're still on Ghana, I mentioned earlier about the free SHS, right? And this particular policy and the fact that the government decides to go to IMF. Look, if you look on social media, there's a lot of clips, and this is what makes social media interesting these days. So whatever it is that you've said in the past, if you decide to change your mind or go contrary to what you said in the past, you will be reminded, okay? People will remind you. So there's been clips that have been put together of where the government, the Ghana government, criticizing the opposition, the party in opposition now, let's say the Mahama government in 2016, going to the IMF. And of course, the current government were bashing them and saying all manner of things, all right? And fast forward, this current government, it was only back in February that the finance minister, Kenneth Farah, was saying that was reluctant and refuted, saying that Ghana would not be going to the IMF. And there's another clip where he happened to be at one event. I'm not sure if it's the same event. And to the point where he even made a biblical reference. I think Daniel and Caleb or something like that. That Ghana is not going to the IMF. And then a massive U-turn to finally decide to seek an IMF bailout. And I've said this, times ahead for Ghanaians, Ghanaians need to tighten up their belt because it's going to be very, very difficult. Already we've seen the implications with the union looking to go on strike. And one policy, because as you're aware, or if you're not, if you seek an IMF bailout, you're simply telling them that you don't know how to run your affairs, so they need to come in to teach you what you need to do to be able to manage your economy, essentially. And there are conditions, okay? There are conditions on what you can spend on, what you shouldn't spend on, what you should concentrate on, where you should raise taxes, where you should reduce tax, all manner of things. So what tends to happen is a lot of government projects end up being stalled because they need to really hold back and cut costs. And one of government's main policy that I thought could be impacted as a result of this IMF bill is IMF bailout rather, is the free SHS. And the government came in power based on this particular policy, and it's a popular policy. The government paying for children to go to school. In the country there are a lot of families that are unable to pay school fees, so the government took that up on its shoulders. Now, a lot of people did not criticize it as such. Was saying that, myself included, I didn't criticize it because, anyone, anywhere, to be able to get education, free education, to be able to go to school, right? Now, whether the quality of education, listen, that's debatable, all right? The most important thing is you're going to school. Whether the quality is great or not great, at least you're getting some level of education, right? Okay. But the question was, how sustainable is this policy? Because we've seen it in the past where, within the health sector in Ghana, right? That, with the card, if you have a medical card, then obviously that in itself should help you in trying to purchase medicines. But that policy did not work. It wasn't sustainable. It wasn't. So how sustainable is this particular policy? Now, according to Professor Peter Quartey, who is the director of Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research in the University of Ghana, he has called for this free SHS policy to be reviewed. And according to him, and I quote him, he said that from time to time, he has supported the review of the policy and don't subscribe to the government paying for tuition on boarding fees for everybody. And I think, a lot of people would agree. And I think even I said this in the past, to have a blanket a policy, that says that you pay for everybody. Of course, there are some people in the position that will be able to afford school fees, and others wouldn't. And I think in the government's attempt to win election or to be elected in the second term, didn't really think about this policy properly. I think it was a rush, even though it's a fantastic idea. Was it poorly executed? It's debatable. Does it give kids opportunity? Of course. Were there going to be problems? Of course there are going to be problems, because we haven't seen anything on this scale in the country. So of course there are going to be problems. However, it boils down to the sustainability of this particular policy. Would the government be able to sustain this? Would this be sustained under the IMF bill? Some will say yes, it will be. Things are that difficult in Ghana to the point where the president has also come out to say he has taken a 30% salary pay cut. Of course, opposition member did request for the president's pay slip to make sure if it's true, if he has taken a 30% salary pay cut. But anyway, that's by the by. But the issue still remains. And I think it would be difficult for the government to go back on this particular policy. I think it would be very, very difficult. Really, really difficult. How do you, roll out such a massive policy, and then in the end, due to economic hardship, then you decide to cut back on this policy, which will impact, the next batch, the young people that, feeling like it's their turn to also benefit from this particular policy. So the government, the Ghanaian government, have a big task on their hands, massively. Let me hear your take on this. The free SHS, is it sustainable or unsustainable? Send a text 0778 793 9958. You can call 0203 735 8820. All right? And let's hear your take. Another story before I go on the break is the DVLA, still in Ghana, by the way. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority has intercepted and fined 1,881 defective vehicles between January and May this year. The vehicles were intercepted for having various defects in special operations conducted across the 16 regions. The defects included altered body frames, those in rickety shapes, expired roadworthy stickers, defaced registration number plates, fake customized plates, and fake documents. Within the same period, the DVLA also intercepted 1,348 drivers with fake licenses, expired license, driving with the wrong class of license, driving without a license, or driving without prescribed glasses. The National Coordinator of the Compliance of Enforcement Unit of the DVLA, Richard Kwesi Iya, said that the operations were carried out to clear the road of rickety vehicles and illegal driving activities. Now, this is interesting because I remember leading up to the 2017 elections, right? No, the 2020 elections, I beg your pardon. And I read one of the opposition party, NDC, in their manifesto. And in their manifesto, they made it clear, in Ghana going green, they were talking about, bringing in new cars and that cars are good for the ecosystem. And so I spoke to a member of the NDC, and I put this to him. I said, "Look, I'm not making this up. This is what you guys have said in your manifesto. Is this actually realistic, or this is just filling pages in your manifesto?" And he said to me, "Listen, we have to be honest. Look, the people that are using these type of vehicles in Ghana are the poor people. Everything has to be done gradually, and I think this will have a massive impact on the local people." Now, I'm not saying I'm condoning it. I'm not condoning it, and of course, the DVLA must be applauded for doing what it is that they're doing. But then how do you strike the balance? Because at the end of the day, this is what feed people in that sector. To go and buy a new car, let me hear what you have to say. There are a few text messages that have come in. Taking a quick break. When we come back, I've said this in the past, we'll look at an interview I did with the Minister for Minister for Africa from the UK, all right, in the dealings with Africa. Well, they had a business meeting council with Ghana in particular. And as we're talking about Ghana, let's see how Britain and Ghana's relationship in terms of trade, they're trying to build upon that, and let's see what will come out of this. So we'll be back right after this. Don't go nowhere. It's GN Radio, the Morning Breakfast Show with myself, Jones Awuah. When we come back, I'll read the messages that have been coming on, all right? There's a lot of interesting comments coming on, so I'll read your messages right after this.
When you thought you'd seen it all, but no, this is the height of it. London, wake up as the maestro, Mr. Music Man, the legendary Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band, UK. Live concert in the UK. This is happening live on the 30th of July, 2022. Time, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Hosted by The Force. DJ on deck, DJ TQ. Location, Gaumont Palace, Dominion Center, the Broadway High Road, Woodgreen, N226DS. Performing live, we'll be having a surprise guest. Anticipate. Come and witness history in the making. Tickets available online at www.kojoentry.eventbrite.co.uk. Remember, this is sponsored by Unity Link Money Transfer. Media partners. For more info, contact 077-288-76027 or 075-2552-48643. Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band UK live in concert. UK is powered by Davison Band and Desire Enterprise UK. So my guy, you have to there, eh? It's a legendary thing, my lad, me tell ya. Yeah. It's the anthem.
Don't sleep, wake up.
Abinel Solicitors, your #1 family-friendly law firm, has done it again. Hooray! On the 30th of July 2022, Abinal Solicitors invite you to the Community Day. Theme, bringing the law to your doorstep. This is a special initiative to give back to the community. So come join us for all your free legal solutions. There will be free legal advice, food and drinks. And we've put together a solid team of solicitors and accountants. So you also have free accounting and tax advice. Wow! Abinal Solicitors Community Day, 30th of July 2022. Entibra, Nebeshia a lawyer for any accountants akukudam. Nafa how bia e famra semo. A free immigration ayen krata sem. Efa adwuma family law. And now person okofo obi a free Ghana eba. Ni na fabra na a free service. Abinal Solicitors Community Day. Venue 41 Copperfield Mews, London, N18 1PF. Time 12 midday to 4 p.m. Coming by train, Angel Corner, Silver Street Station. Buses 34 102 149 144. For more information, please call 02037 593 309 or 07824 705 353. Abinal Solicitors Community Day, 30th of July 2022. A free service. So bring all your friends and family.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, Awuah, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiya Basa. It's not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with Awuah.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
Yo, Ghana for what English approach my muha. Ya sweady. Yenya emrenim fo a wen akwadare wo emrenimo a poto kasa mu ye kasa a lawyer fo entimi nuanom mumiyem for immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo mo Fortwell solicitors emrenimu akuku drofo se watna ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa kan wo krata na se wedi edro nso a eyo mo kokokra eba ne nipa sitena mu eni adwuma mu nsem bia omudi mu akotene pa omo wo mre di mani pa bia na de enika wo mu mpone se no consultation fee.
Fortwell solicitors always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. Fortwell solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. Fortwell solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses, 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
Opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday Beyonce Yellow Milton Keynes.
Fortwell Solicitors is regulated by SRA.
Fortwell Solicitors.
Welcome back. This is GN Radio UK. The time now is 9:40. It is Wednesday, 13th July 2022. And we're streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube. So do make sure that you listen. And whilst you're there, leave your message in your comments as well. Okay, so let us hear you. Now, before we continue, I did make mention of the fact that I was going to play a clip, an interview that I did, all right? And I think it's important for us to, you know, when especially the African countries end up signing deals or, you know, with especially, you know, with the likes of the US or the UK, it's good to know what they actually, what conversations are being had, because usually what we get to see or hear is the back end of things, you know. Oh, we signed this deal, but realistically, we don't know the ins and outs. So I spoke to the minister, I think she's still at post, the UK Minister for Africa, Vicky Ford. Okay, let's take a listen to this interview. Come back, I'll read your messages, I promise. Keep them coming. So thank you very much for taking time out to talk to us.
That's great. Thank you for coming to chat.
First and foremost, I know there's a business council meeting with Ghana and the UK, but if I may ask, have you been to Ghana yet?
So yes, I was in Ghana in February. Just the way time is worked out, I was in Ghana the day after Russia invaded Ukraine. So some really important discussions we were having, of course, about global security and defence. But I was there at the same time as well as our trade envoy. So we also had some more discussions about supporting each other in trade. And then I'm going to be there again in a couple of weeks for the annual meeting of the African Development Bank. It's a really important relationship between Ghana and the UK.
Fantastic. Obviously, this is the aftermath of Brexit. And if you can just let us know what noticeable changes in terms of trade with Ghana.
Good question. You know, one of the things about the UK being an independent nation from our own trade policy is it means that we can be more nimble in terms of working with other countries across the world, which we couldn't do when we were part of the European Union trading bloc. So Ghana is a really important country for the UK, you know, relationships going back many, many years, decades, centuries. We have about £1 billion worth of trade between our two nations. At the moment, we want to take that to 1.4 billion by the end of 2024. So we've set ourselves that 2-year target now to do that. Of course, we've had other shocks and things that have happened. The COVID pandemic now as well, because of Russia's awful illegal invasion of Ukraine. We've got this food price and fuel price shock, fertilizer too, that's impacting on economies. So having this business council allows us to talk about those sort of economic issues, but both global but also domestic to each other, as well as what can we do to be unlocking and increasing the trade between our countries.
And what has been the main focal point of discussion during this business meeting?
Well, a key part of the discussion that I was there was talking about the economic situation, which we know is challenging for the government. I mean, countries across the world have taken on a significant amount of debt, especially during the COVID pandemic. You know, Ghana actually reacted really, really quickly and decisively to support the country during the pandemic. But that has pushed up their debt. It did lead to a recession. But then they were talking to me about, both the trade minister and other ministers were talking to me about how the economy is coming back. You know, one of the fastest recoveries they've seen in Africa, and what they see as being able to rebuild that economic stability. So as good friends, we've been also helping them look at issues like how do you increase your tax take, that whole fiscal consolidation. So we were getting an update on those issues as well. And then we've been talking about how we support the country through our export credit agency as well.
Okay. I also read somewhere that the UK actually helping in the pharmaceutical sector in Ghana. If you can maybe share light on that.
So we've been, not so much in the pharmaceutical sector specifically. I mean, there's different infrastructure sectors that we've been helping. So, for example, UK companies just been very involved in these Moby Bridges projects, which is going to help access more rural areas that are hard to reach. The OneWeb company has been helping to get internet access. The UK investment finance has been helping to invest in the healthcare sector as well, through clinics and others. So those sorts of projects. But actually, a lot of different companies very, very focused on how can we improve investment in Ghana, because it's a country that's got very strong diaspora tribes. It's a country that, compared to some of its regional neighbours, is actually quite easy to do business in. We do need to help that fiscal consolidation and the economic outlook for the country and its debt to be stabilised. So that's where we're also listening and as friends working together on what more can we do to help.
Now, there's been a lot of talks about the rate at which China, for instance, investing across Africa.
So one of the things that we've been doing in the UK under our current Foreign Secretary is really focusing on what is the UK's offer in terms of helping to support funding for infrastructure. And we've taken what used to be called the Commonwealth Development Bank, which had been going for a very, very long time, for over 70 years, Commonwealth Development Corporation. Re-looked at what it does, given it more different tools that it can use, financial tools, to support economic growth, and rebranded it as British International Investment. And BII is looking at projects all across the continent, but actually in other parts of the world too, for example, in the Caribbean, and looking at how it can help unlock other investment. So, for example, in Ghana, they're looking at how they can get some of their balance sheet in to support small and medium-sized enterprises, similar to a deal that we've recently done in Kenya as well. And a deal that we were doing in Nigeria, where they've put up a fund that will help get small energy projects off the ground. So BII will also work on larger scale infrastructure investments as well. So again, when I visited in Kenya recently, East Africa's largest solar farm has been funded by British International Investment. So that's a key part of our tool. And what we make it really clear, and with this new toolbox that we've given them, is we want to make sure that when we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent, that it is honest, that it is reliable, that you don't get a deal from your lender that suddenly comes with extra strings attached. That if a deal doesn't go quite how it wanted, that we'll talk to the country, okay, and try and work out what the best way forward. But sometimes when we've seen other countries offer infrastructure money, it's sounded very good value, but actually, if things haven't gone quite according to plan, it's been an absolute nightmare for the country concerned. So this is why we want to have this honest, reliable funding.
Looking at the way in which China has invested, does it limit the influence of Britain, particularly across Africa?
I think it's different. I think when I've been across the continent, and I've now visited more than a dozen different countries in the 6 months that I've had this job, and been talking to businesses, been talking to government ministers as well. In some places I've said they've felt this sort of reticence more recently, okay? You know, and looking at this sort of what is the different offer. So I don't really want to criticise other countries, because that's not a very British thing to do. What I want to say is what we want to do, which is we want to make sure that you have honest, reliable, trustworthy financing, okay? Sometimes that means that putting a deal together, preparing it, takes more time in the preparation, okay? Before you actually see, you know, concrete spades digging or whatever, concrete being laid. But that often is worthwhile, that you'll get to the end of a project faster, you'll often get to an end of a project actually cheaper if you spend more time and investment. And this is what we will say to countries is, you know, look at it. When you take a deal from the UK, on average, actually, the time to completion, the cost of the deal is less, the expertise is greater, the excellence is greater, and so that's what we're offering. But it is a really big change in the way that we're trying to help our friends and partners around the world.
In terms of access, Ghana's access to UK's market, is there any significant change there, or is still the same under the current economic partnership agreement?
Yes, I mean, it is, Ghana, as I said, will always be a good friend of the UK. Ghana's obviously had its sovereign credit ratings reduced recently by some of the rating agencies. And so that is something we've been talking to them about. How do they tell their story? How are they looking to address that? Because that will make more private companies as well more confident. But, you know, when I've been out in Ghana and met British companies back in February, there's still a lot of keenness to do a lot more trade. And, you know, it's a wonderful country, wonderful people, and people want to open up those opportunities.
Thank you very much, Minister. So that was the Minister for Africa from the UK. Her name is Vicky Ford. It was interesting because, you know, it's good to get a perspective when, you know, they're having these type of trade deals, okay, to understand, because a lot of the time when it, you know, comes to trade, and one particular question that I'm glad I was able to ask is the impact of China across, especially across Africa, and how the Chinese have invested heavily in Ghana. And of course, she gave her feedback, her reasons, and although she tried to dodge around the question, in the end, what she said was directed, you know, to China or about China, saying that if you deal with the UK, you know, it's more transparent as opposed to dealing with other countries that are not transparent. And if you default in payment, then, you know, we all know what happens. We've heard the cases with countries that have not been able to make payment on the loans taken from China. Okay, let me read a few of your text messages. Now, before we went on the break, or before we played this particular interview, we're talking about the fact that Professor Quote, who is the director, Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research at the University of Ghana, is saying that the free SHS policy in Ghana needs to be reviewed because it's not sustainable. It's unsustainable. Okay, and of course I was talking about the fact that Ghana has now sought an IMF bailout, the impact on that on some of the government's policies, and, you know, what's going to happen as a result of taking going for an IMF bailout. Okay, and we all know the conditions that comes with going for an IMF bailout. I mean, even during the Mohammed's administration, it got to the point where even condoms were being taxed. So the IMF bailout sometimes, or should I say majority of the time when it comes to African countries in particular, the government hands are tied. Because essentially you're saying to the IMF, I don't know how to manage my economy, you come in and manage it for me. So the IMF will then tell you what you need to do. So we'll see how that goes. And he's, you know, the professor is actually saying that the government should not pay for boarding schools. They shouldn't, because the government cannot take that burden on its shoulders. And here we are, the government, of course, you know, it's a fantastic policy. There's no two ways about it. It's a fantastic policy. But the execution, I think, has been the problem. When we talk about the execution, we're talking about how sustainable this policy actually is. You know, big policies, but how sustainable is it? Now we're going to see the impact of Ghana going to the IMF. How it's going to impact the government's policies, some of the big policies that they want to embark on. But my main concern is the free SHS. Will this affect it in any shape or form? And then still on Ghana, this is from the DVLA, right? Now the DVLA have said that they have intercepted and fined 1,881 vehicles. Okay, some of these vehicles that were stopped were not roadworthy. I guess we all know that. Some of the drivers were using fake driving license. Some of them were not wearing prescribed glasses. And, these are all things that will help to reduce, accidents. And, of course, passenger safety is the number one key factor here. And the public sector workers union that have threatened to embark on an indefinite strike beginning on the 19th of July. So we've discussed that as well. Now, of course, many countries, governments are under increasing pressure as, the cost of living has had a mad impact, on the citizens. We've seen people demonstrating. In Uganda, the government has actually stopped people from demonstrating, where Museveni has actually told his citizens to cut his coat according to his size, as opposed to calling for the government to, cut taxes and bring down, inflation. Anyway, so these were some of the things that we spoke about today. Some of the text messages read this is from Getty. Getty is saying, Jones, well done to DVLA, because, a lot of the vehicles in Ghana are not roadworthy, so well done to them. This is from Aisha. Aisha is saying, I would like to comment on Ghana. I went to Ghana for holidays, and the cars were not roadworthy. So well done to the DVLA for taking such initiative. Okay. I'd like to say thank you to all our guests or to you, all the people that sent in the text messages. For some reason, and also apologize because for some reason we had technical issues, so people that were listening on Tunein were not able to get the feed. So please accept my apologies, all right? Our engineers are on it trying to work it out. But I'm done for another day. All being well, I'll see you same place, same time next week, and we'll try and get, the Ghanaian politicians on. And also Kenya. Kenyans will be going to the polls on the 9th of August. What is happening? Yesterday, there were some news about fake news being spread among citizens in Kenya, particularly across social media. So we'll keep you updated. We'll bring you up to date as to what's happening in the world, not just politics, but current affairs, all right? Whatever it is that you're doing today, make sure you look after yourself and stay safe. If you're out there enjoying the weather, make sure you get your suntan cream. It's your sun cream, rather, and also a bottle of water. It's important, all right, to keep yourself hydrated. My name is Jones Awuah. Thank you very much for tuning in. And all being well, I'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your day.
When you thought you seen it all, but no, this is the height of it. London, wake up as the maestro, Mr. Music Man, the legendary Kojo Entry with Kache and the Davison Band UK. Live concert in the UK.